Well, recently we mentioned about a partnership between American Airlines and a company called Graphyte that was hoping to lead a significant change in how emissions coming from jet aircraft are dealt with. The deal would have American buying 10,000 tons of permanent carbon removal from graphite. But how that company would see this process play out is maybe an even more interesting part to the story. We are joined right now by Barclay Rogers, who's co-founder and CEO of Graphyte. Barclay, pleasure to have you with us. Thanks for a few moments today.
Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. This is very interesting and obviously caught my attention when I saw the stories pop up. I guess let's start by telling us a little bit about Graphyte and how the company developed and got to this point.
So Graphyte is a carbon removal company, right? And the idea is that if we're going to decarbonize the economy, right, and achieve our climate change targets, we're going to need to do both everything we can to reduce emissions, but also we're going to need to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And so Graphyte is focused on the removals, and particularly on removals that are permanent, affordable, and immediately scalable.
And plant waste is apparently part of this process.
Correct. So if you think about the universe of carbon removal solutions, right, it's important to go back and think about the role that nature plays already, right? Plants capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. The challenge, of course, is that the carbon that's captured in those plants is generally re-emitted when the plants are either burned or otherwise left to decompose. And so what we're doing at Graphyte, we created a process that we call carbon casting, and it's essentially securing the carbon already captured by plants and permanently keeping it out of the atmosphere.
And you're able to do so by basically collecting this material and putting it almost like in brick form and being able to bury it?
Exactly. And so if you go and think about what happens to how is the carbon released from the biomass material, right? Again, let's leave aside burning and just think about natural decomposition. Well, what's driving that natural decomposition are microbes. Microbes are effectively consuming the carbon in the biomass. They're breaking it down, and then they're emitting either methane or carbon dioxide, depending on the decomposition pathway. So what do? Is we're effectively halting the microbial decomposition of biomass. And the way we do that is through a series of steps. The first step is to dry the biomass down below a moisture content level below which microbes cannot survive. If you don't have water, the microbe cannot live. From there, we press it into blocks. That's largely for material handling purposes, so we can move it around. And then we encase those blocks in long-lasting impermeable barriers so the water can't get back in. Again, no water, no microbes, no decomposition.
And I understand that Breakthrough Energy Ventures was a big supporter of yours as you were building this out, and that's an organization founded by Bill Gates.
That's correct. And so as you may know, Breakthrough Energy Ventures is the leading climate tech, low-carbon venture capital firm, right? And within Breakthrough, it's a very interesting organization in of itself, right? It has developed a lot of internal expertise around, just low carbon technologies. It has other sort of aspects to it, including, some policy initiatives and so on. But the whole point of Breakthrough is to find scalable technologies to address the major challenges with climate change. And, with respect to graphite, that means finding a cost, an affordable method to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Now, we've mentioned about the partnership with American Airlines. There are certainly numerous companies that would have a need for this type of a partnership. Obviously, the airline industry right at the forefront of a lot of this. Take us into how you were able to put this together.
Yeah, so there's a few things to recognize there. Is first of all, it's becoming widely recognized that we need to have removals if we're going to hit the climate targets. Of course, as I said at the start, we need to abate emissions, but we also need to engage in carbon removals at significant scale. The challenge, with most carbon removals is that they're very, very expensive. And if you look at sectors of the economy that have large emissions, right, or sometimes are called the hard to abate sectors, that they just simply can't afford to pay $1,000 a ton for removals, just because it won't. Their underlying business won't support those kinds of costs. And so, at Graphyte, our cost is less than $100 per ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. That's considered the sort of the desired, price point to make it, broadly scalable and affordable across the economy. And so we began talking to American Airlines because we understood that they take their climate pledges very seriously. They're looking for viable alternatives, but they need something that is affordable. And from that core premise is how the American and Graphyte deal came together.
So once you are able to collect and cast the emissions into these blocks, you will then bury them, and what kind of monitoring needs to occur on those blocks after you actually get to that point in the process?
Yeah, it's a great question. And if you go and think about what we're trying to do globally as a world concerned about carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere, is we need to keep that carbon out of the atmosphere for climate relevant timescales. So what that really means is we need to know how much came out, and we need to ensure that it does not, is not re-emitted to the atmosphere, over 1,000 years or more. So at Graphyte, through our carbon casting process, we developed this system. This is often called measurement, reporting and verification, or MRV. But in our case, we use tracer substances that are embedded inside the blocks, inside the impermeable barriers, so in the event that there were a leak, we would know. Okay, and the other way to say that is we have a high level of assurance that there will be no leak, because we're constantly monitoring for those tracer substances.
Is the expectation that that this is the first of what you believe will be numerous partnerships as you move forward here, and a viable way to eliminate a lot of these emissions as we move forward?
Exactly. That's our business plan in a nutshell right there, is that the world needs, widespread carbon removals, right? At Graphyte, we are able to provide those removals on the order of billions of tons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year, right? And we're able to do so at an affordable level, right? So that's the core, is that the world needs what, we are offering. This is the first of many deals to come.
I guess that is part of a larger build-out plan that your company hopefully has in the years ahead, correct?
Exactly. And so right now we have a single project in development. It's a project that we call the Loblolly project. It will operate at the scale of 50,000 tons per year of removals, and that's commencing in 2024. Okay, that will make Graphyte, I believe, the largest durable carbon dioxide removal company in the world. And from there, we have many other projects that are in the earlier stages of project development, so that we're able to get to, well beyond 50,000 tons into the hundreds and millions and eventually billions of tons of carbon removal over time.
And part of that process has to be the build-out of relations, I guess, here in the United States with different state governmental agencies, and as you move this further around the globe with other governments as well.
Exactly, and it's one of the things that we believe, deeply at Graphyte, is you need to engage the local community, the local regulators. You need to explain what you're doing, why it's not only safe, right? It is, it has an underlying good for the broader environment. And so the Loblolly project I mentioned in Arkansas, we've been deeply engaged with the regulatory and just local community leaders there in Arkansas, and we will repeat that playbook over and over again as we build additional projects elsewhere in the United States and across the.
What do you think that this really means for the I hate to use the word battle, but I guess it really is, the battle to try and reach net zero over the next couple of decades?
It means a lot. And the reason is that, if you think about anything across the economy, like what drives it forward? Technological advances drive it forward, right? We have a goal. That goal could be, increased GDP. It could also be, battling climate change. But the thing that enables you to achieve that goal is technological breakthroughs. And so what do we see with graphite in our carbon casting process is a technological breakthrough that enables permanent, affordable, scalable carbon removals. That is what we need to address our climate change objectives.
And I think the other side to it, and it's something that I've talked about on my show a lot, is the fact that this belief that trying to tackle a lot of these issues around climate is something that can't be, from a business perspective, also profitable as well. It obviously can be, and you're to a degree taking care of two ends of the stick at the same time, of having a successful business, but also being able to serve the environment as well.
Exactly. And if you just think about business in its deepest level, like what is business doing? It's providing a societal good. That societal good could be food, it could be buildings, it could be anything, it could be vehicles, it's anything that society needs. That is what businesses exist for, right? And in this case, in Graphyte, we are in the business of solving climate change, right? So we make money, but we also provide a core societal need, and that, in this particular case, is affordable carbon removals.
Would it be safe to go ahead and ask you if other conversations have already commenced with other companies about this type of a process in their needs as we move forward here in the next many years?
Absolutely. Again, if you come back and look, and one of the things that is just really important to know is we do have viable technical solutions now, right? We didn't necessarily a decade ago, but we do now, and we're seeing many large companies making carbon pledges and then stepping up and honoring those pledges by doing deals like the ones that we've done with American Airlines. And so we're in active discussions with many of the, corporate entities that need technical solutions, right? And again, our, core focus here is making sure that we can do it at scale, that we can do it affordably, and we can do it in a way that is permanent, that is, that it's keeping carbon out of the atmosphere for 1,000 years or more.
While is it also safe to say that, you have this process in place right now, but you also want to think about what the next set of processes are to kind of continue the advancements as you move forward as well?
Absolutely. No business sort of exists with just one product, right? You need, multiple products. In our case, the blocks, we initially set out to, solve the problem of affordable carbon removals, right? We will always have that as a central tenet of our business, but there are derivative products. We may be able to use the blocks for other purposes while, still achieving climate objectives, right? But maybe we use them as, for building materials or road bedding or various other, applications along those lines. So, we set out to provide the lowest cost, permanent, scalable carbon removal, and we're building from there.
It has to be amazing for you to kind of go through this process and see the development of this technology play out from literally ground zero to now hopefully leading to net zero. What's it been like for you?
I love the ground zero to net zero. That's a very the nice turn of phrase there. So, my personal background, I've been involved in, if you will, the climate fight, going back to 2010, okay? That, I've been in the trenches for quite a long time now. The thing that so excites me is that we're seeing the technical breakthroughs. We're seeing the kinds of solutions that we need to do this at scale, come to the fore. So no longer is it this finger pointing and, blame. It's actually we're applying technology to the problem, and we're going to solve it.
Barclay, great to talk with you. Thanks very much. All the best with everything you got going on.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Barclay Rogers, who is a co-founder and CEO of Graphyte.